Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Abu Dhabi Finance Week, here in the heart of the capital of capital. Abu Dhabi is not just shaping the future of global finance, it is shaping the future of public infrastructure, a future where trust, technology, and societal impact come together to build systems that serves people, protects communities, and empowers nations. Our session explores a critical question around how can blockchain evolve from a private sector innovation into a true public good, one that strengthens transparency, inclusion, and trust across society. From secure identity and healthcare records to public finance and social services, blockchain is emerging as a foundational layer for citizen-centric systems that puts individuals in the center. To help explore this further, we are joined with a visionary leader who would be sharing with us how we can shape global conversations around financial inclusion and public purpose technology. Huey, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much, Rauda. It's a real pleasure to be here at Abu Dhabi Finance Week. I've had the chance to be here for the last few years, and I have seen the amazing growth of Abu Dhabi Finance Week. So really happy to be here with you today.
Thank you, Huey. So Huey, blockchain is often celebrated for its potential to make public services more transparent and accessible. So where do you see blockchain delivering the most immediate, realistic, and high impact value for governments and societies today? And how can we make those use cases credible?
Yeah. Thanks a lot for this important, difficult question. Perhaps let me ask the audience, because we have quite a few people here, who is involved in blockchain and digital assets in the room? Okay, so quite a lot of people, so I have to be careful with my answer, because I guess that, if I ask any of you in terms of what is important, in terms of impact, a lot of what you're working on is really important. So let me take a step back and not even talk about blockchain. Let's talk about the world and where we are today. We're in a world where it's really clear that technology and innovation are important. And when we think of technology and innovation, actually, they have had a huge impact on growth of our societies, of our nations, for pretty much the last 200 years, since the Industrial Revolution. It was actually the theme of the Nobel Prize in economy a few weeks ago in terms of innovation sustaining economic growth. So we know that technology, innovation, really, really important. If we think of here in Abu Dhabi, if I wanted to innovate, what would I do? If I wanted to be an entrepreneur, for example, I would launch my company. I could use my UAE pass, for example, to register for my company. I would create a website. I could receive payments, digital payments. That seems really obvious for pretty much all of us here in the room, whether we're here in Abu Dhabi, in London, Singapore, New York. It seems obvious that all those steps are steps which are important. For most of the world, however, for emerging markets, this is not really possible. This is not really possible because these concepts of digital identity, digital payments, digital health are not really there. In other words, the infrastructure, which is important to be part of the digital economy, is not really there. So if we go back to your question in terms of what is really important and what is most impactful, my view is that having a strong digital infrastructure is really important for all nations, including emerging economies, to do really well. This is actually what we do at ADI Foundation. And for those of you who don't know ADI Foundation, actually Abu Dhabi Finance Week is really important to ADI Foundation because exactly a year ago, ADI Foundation, which we had a logo somewhere here, ADI Foundation was announced here at Abu Dhabi Finance Week. So that was a year ago. This year, actually, was also a really important milestone. 2 days ago, we announced the mainnet of ADI Foundation, in other words, our technology infrastructure, partnerships with amazing companies like M-Pesa, MasterCard, Franklin Templeton, for example, were announced. A lot more will be announced if you're interested in exactly 1 hour, actually. Ajay Bhatia, who's the principal council member of ADI Foundation and the CEO of Sirius, will be on stage at ADQ Arena and will be talking about it. So going back to your question, infrastructure, really important. To make it a bit more concrete, because it might be a bit more conceptual, here we are at Abu Dhabi Finance Week and we talk about finance. When we talk about finance, over the last 10, 20 years, we've done amazing progress in terms of finance, mobile payments. For example, M-Pesa has done incredible strides for mobile payments in Africa. All of us, we can pay now with our mobile phones, for example, even our smartwatches. That's amazing. There's still a lot to do, actually. There's still a lot, if we think of remittances. In some countries, we're still having to pay 4 or 5% of fees. It takes a few days. So we're not there yet in terms of digital payment. And we're not there yet in a world of AI, where we'll be using agentic AI to pay for a flight ticket from the Silicon Valley to here, for example. So what is the future of mobile payment? This is one of the projects, for example, at ADI, which we're working on, which is a stable coin, the Dirham stable coin, in collaboration with IHC and FAB, which is about the future of payments. And here it's about making sure that citizens and companies can have their lives simpler in a world of digital. So those are some of those, I think, impactful initiatives which you can think of.
100%. And speaking of announcements, our chairman, His Excellency, just announced a very exciting announcement at his opening remarks for FinTech Abu Dhabi, which will be shared towards the end of our session today. So carrying on about scaling blockchain for civic uses, obviously it requires more than pilots, it requires national readiness. So from your perspective, what will it take for blockchain to become a true part of national infrastructure, especially in regions like the UAE, who are actively positioned to lead this transformation?
Definitely. I think before answering your question, I'll take a step back and talk about why are we talking about blockchain? Because I don't want to push blockchain for everything. It has a certain usage. Blockchain is an amazing technology for system innovation, for collaborative innovation. I'll take an example. If we wanted to, let's say, organize a big party for all the people in the room here, in a pre-blockchain world, what we could do is that I could start with an Excel spreadsheet, add people to the list, send you via email this Excel spreadsheet. You'd add some people, remove perhaps some people, send it back to me. If we're starting to be 10 people to organize it, it's a mess. It's a mess because I don't know whom you have added, etc. So that's the world pre-blockchain. The world post-blockchain is doing exactly the same thing, but with Google Sheets. So with Google Sheets, you would see who I have added, who I have removed, the same for you, and we could be hundreds of people to organize this big party. So blockchain really important for what we call system innovation, collaborative innovation, which at the level of a country or large systems, it's really important. So now that we have said that blockchain important for whole countries to innovate, what is important? So I've had the chance to work with a lot of different ecosystems in Europe, Middle East, and Asia, and there tends to be 5 pillars that always comes back. First one, leadership. Second one, regulation. Third, ecosystem. Fourth, capital. And last but not least, talent. You asked the question about Abu Dhabi and the UAE. I think that across those 5 different pillars, we're extremely privileged. In terms of leadership, and not just about blockchain, leadership for the country in itself, there are very few countries that have this long-term vision of building the country. Vision 2030, for example, in terms of the announcement that was done yesterday, in terms of creating this cluster for fintech, insurance, digital, and alternative assets. It is another initiative here, ADGM, where we are. So leadership is definitely exceptional here in the country. Regulations, really important for blockchain, digital assets. I think, again, we're extremely privileged of having regulations or regulators who are extremely involved in terms of regulations. Again, here, FSRA as a regulator, CB UAE, VARA, all those regulators are extremely involved in terms of not just saying yes or no, but involved in the development of the ecosystem. Capital, the capital of capital, I don't think I need to say more in terms of capital. Talents, so talents, and perhaps I'll start with what you've been doing at ADGM Academy, but the exceptional work that you have had, and 2 days ago with the ceremony here of bringing together all those people. Talents is a really important part of the ecosystem. ADGM Academy, what you've been doing is incredible. ADI Foundation, that's also one of our objectives of not just bringing exceptional talents from outside to Abu Dhabi, but raising homegrown talent, the same that we do at CFT. I think that talents is a really important part of the strategy. And I'll finish on ecosystem. An ecosystem, I've had the chance to be in Abu Dhabi for a few years, and I think that 40,000 people, Abu Dhabi Finance Week, I think that says it all. Abu Dhabi has managed to create this whole ecosystem of very diverse types of perspectives. 100%. Here we have very large banks, UBS, HSBC, Standard Chartered. We have Web3, we have technology companies, we have regulators, governments. So ecosystem is bringing all of this together. So if there was a place for the future of blockchain, I think they would be here.
Abu Dhabi is the place to be, and Abu Dhabi is investing deeply in talent development, collaboration, research, and forward-thinking policy. Here we're talking, if we talk about from a regional perspective, around the world, we're seeing a lot of a powerful convergence between AI meeting blockchain. And a few countries are doing it exceptionally well, but the opportunity really is global. So from your perspective, how do you see blockchain and AI reinforcing each other? And what would it take for nations, not only the early movers, but everywhere to build this capability effectively and responsibly?
Yeah, so AI, I think that in all discussions we're talking about AI. You might see I have an AI pin. So I love AI. That's to celebrate actually our certification of AI in finance in 2018. So for a long, long time we've said AI, single most important technology impacting all of us, which I truly believe. But there's what I would call AI paradox. If you think about it, first, who in the room uses ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, DeepSeek? Pretty much everyone. So I think congrats to all of us who are part of the 1 billion people who use ChatGPT, which is crazy if we think about it. ChatGPT and LLMs have done in 3 years what took 12 years for the internet to do, fastest growth of any technology ever. So AI has never been so accessible. On the other hand, and that's the other part of the paradox, if we think of who's winning the AI race? Who's winning the AI race? We're thinking of the US, of course, of China, and there are very, very few other countries that have the resources and strategy for it. The UAE has it, but that's pretty much it. There are not that many countries. So we're talking about a technology that has never been so accessible, and on the other hand, it seems that only a few are benefiting from it. I'll give you an example. That's what I call the hidden trend. The hidden trend is happening in the most competitive environment in the world, which is the Silicon Valley. Before generative AI, it used to take 10 years and 500 employees for those startups to reach $100 million of revenues. Today, companies like Cursor, Lovable, Replit, they do it in 1 year with 50 employees. In other words, they do it 10 times faster with 10 times fewer employees. In which world can you be 100 times better than the best of the best? That's AI, that's the multiplier effect.
100%, and this is where Abu Dhabi sees enormous potential, not just in adopting emerging technologies, but also in integrating them into a unified, secure, and future-ready national infrastructure. Huey, I have a final question to pick your brains on, and I hope it's not a difficult one, because I would prefer if you try to choose rather than combine all the options together. So if blockchain is truly going to deliver public good at scale, what is the single, or maybe you can choose two, most important ingredient we must get right? Is it technology, the governance, the collaboration, or the trust, and why?
So you're forcing me to choose. It's a bit like asking a parent, who's your favorite child. So you can't really choose that. And so the way we think about it at CFT, and we teach about it, actually, we have those three pillars. So after that, I can perhaps not tell which one amongst the three, but the three pillars are technology, regulation and governance, and talents. Those three are really important, and they're not independent in the sense of you cannot really develop technology without having really good talents. At the same time, governance and regulations are really core to it. So I would say if I had to choose, the easiest one is technology. Everybody's focusing on technology at the moment. There's huge amount of money, resources which are being put in cloud, sovereign AI, etc., LLM. So technology is almost a no-brainer. Everybody is putting a lot of resources in there. The second one, regulations and governance. And I would say, here is an amazing example of regulation and governance. Again, that's something that regulators, central banks know is really important. So they're spending a lot of time. I would say perhaps today the unloved child, could be talents. We tend to forget a bit on talents, but the reality is that in order to create a thriving ecosystem, it has to be about people. And this is where we're seeing the difference at the moment. The difference between those who are doing really, really well and those who are falling behind is not on technology or governance, it's more about the people side. So if I had to choose one, it would have to be talent.
100%. And I think it's a nice way to sum it up. What we've heard today is very clear that blockchain is not a technology story, it's a trust story. And it is not about decentralization, it is about public benefit. And it is not just transforming systems, but it is transforming societies as well from an individual perspective. And here in Abu Dhabi, we are building these platforms, we are building these partnerships, we are building the talent to lead this transformation forward. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to mention that ADGM Academy and ADI have joined forces under the ADGM Academy Tech Center initiative to launch a center of excellence known as the Future Tech 4.0, which is a landmark initiative dedicated to building the next generation of blockchain leaders, researchers, policymakers, and innovators. Together, we are creating a world-class ecosystem that empowers talent, accelerates adoption, and positions Abu Dhabi at the forefront of blockchain for public good. On behalf of Abu Dhabi Finance Week, we thank you all for being part of this journey here in a city that is shaping the technological future of the world. Thank you.